Studios, 8:37 on your Friday morning, September the 2nd. It's the first Friday of the month, and you know what that means. Football. Well, that also means Darrell Skiles is in town and here to present you with a great report on county business.
Lots going on in the county.
Lots going on in the county. You got Labor Day weekend, got a rodeo. Lots going on.
Been a busy time. I've been, Marianne and I got a little bit of vacation in this week.
Yeah.
So anyway,
well earned, I might add.
And so anyway, well, it was a little shorter, abbreviated vacation. We weren't able to get away until Monday afternoon, and we got back here yesterday afternoon, Thursday afternoon. So, but at any rate, we were able to get away for a while. You know, let's see, today's Friday.
It sure is.
So 2 days ago, we went floating down the Buffalo River down in Arkansas.
How was that float?
Down at the beautiful little town. Well, I'm going to tell you what, it's a beautiful place. It's a great float, beautiful river. But I got to tell you, when you're sitting here and you've got the current river right here in your backyard, you float the current or go down to Jack's Fork.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the folks in Arkansas, they're real proud of the Buffalo, and it's a pretty river and it's beautiful and all. But you know what? The current river and Jack's Fork will spoil you pretty bad. You'll just keep waiting for the rest of it. As you go down to Buffalo, and you folks, somebody will be hearing this down in Arkansas, and they'll be wanting to flog me. But it's a beautiful float. It's altogether different. I didn't see a single spring. It's a warm water river. It's all basically it's runoff from river water. It's not spring fed, the current river. And there's a lady that was talking to me that her and her husband and her family said it's on their checklist things that they want to do is go float the Buffalo River sometime, and was wanting to kind of talking about how it compares with the current and Jack's Fork and so on. So the current river kind of makes me think of it's all that water comes out of the ground. It's spring fed. It's very cold. And it's almost like the current river's in a little bit of a rush to get on down to Arkansas and try to warm up a little bit. The Buffalo River, on the other hand, is already down in Arkansas.
And it's already warmed up.
It's already very warm. And quite frankly, it's kind of like me. It's kind of like a lazy old man that, quite frankly, is in no great hurry to get anywhere. It's a much slower float. And there's a lot of at this time of year, especially when it's been a dry year, there's some pretty shallow spots, and we ended up not having to get out and pull or drag the canoe, but others that were on the river that might be a little heftier than Marianne and I, they were dragging their canoes over some of the shoals and things. And but you got to really be kind of messing up bad if you're going to tip over in it there. There's no real hazards that we've seen anywhere in it. And it's a nice float, and it's a great family float. There's no the rafting or the canoe company we were with. Again, it's worth the drive down just to go down to the little town of Gilbert down between Harrison and Marshall, just off of Highway 65. And it's a beautiful, beautiful drive. You just can't, it's a beautiful drive from, we were staying up at Hollister here for the last few days, and it's a beautiful drive between Missouri and from the Missouri line on down to Harrison and on down to where we turned off at Gilbert to go down to the canoe rental place, a little general store, a little old town. And but no rafts. I don't believe they rent any rafts. They rent lots and lots and lots more kayaks than anything these days, and the canoes.
Seems to be more the trend.
Well, if you were in rafting, there's an awful lot of it. It'd be a long, hard paddle because it's great big, long, slow pools of water, and then a little riffle that's very shallow. You'd be dragging the raft, and then it'd be paddling. It would be miserable. Rafts just wouldn't work. So, like I say, it's the current river's in a hurry to get down south and warm up a little bit. The Buffalo River, it's already there. It's in no great hurry at all, and so don't even expect. And the scenery, it's okay. Some nice bluffs, but you get kind of spoiled if you've been floating and so forth on our current and Jack's Fork. There's nothing really to compare.
When you float a challenging river like current and Jack's Fork, it's a little bit more challenging. You have to pay attention.
You better pay attention and kind of look ahead and plan ahead.
And when you do float those, I kind of call them leisurely floats. Like even the Merrimack River, when you float down to Merrimack State Park, that's a very nice leisurely float. If you really want to float it, it's not very fast. There's a couple areas that move a little bit, but you can take a raft and you can sit out there. And there was actually one area, Darrell, we took a float years and years and years ago that we were out there 9.5, almost 10 hours because there was no current.
Right.
And it wasn't moving the raft down there. And they actually had to come out and start getting people because it was starting to get dark, but you couldn't get downriver because there was no current to help you move.
Yeah,
well, there's current on the current river.
Oh yeah. There was places down there. Really, the wind. We had to paddle down through the pools because the wind was actually trying to blow us in the canoe back up the stream just a little bit and stuff. That's just how slow. But at any rate, it was nice to get away, but it was awful nice to get home too. And lots to do, lots going on, and a lot of different things. But it's August generally is kind of the slowest month. And so it ends up being a good time to try to get away. We've had a lot of employees on vacation and things and stuff, so we took advantage of a chance to finally get away for a few days. But there's still stuff going on, and we'll talk about that a little bit.
But one of the things I think that this really brings out, and hopefully people will ever take advantage of this when they do go on vacation, is that you really have some jewels right here at home.
Absolutely.
You know that you just may take for granted. Oh, they're all like this. I got to see what something else is like because I've heard so many people talk about. Well, they probably haven't been here to float the current or the Jack's Fork. And if you have been, and I tell you, the people I've talked to ever float the Current River, they just love it. They would most of them float Cedar Grove to Acres.
Right.
Okay, but a lot of times now I'm hearing people say, "Oh, I've already floated that part." What's this thing called pull tight? And so that's when you really pull tight and hold on for your life down there. And it's like, wow, it's really rapids. I said, well, it used to be a little bit more than it is, I think, now. But there's still times that it's quick.
There's some tricky spots.
You betcha there is. And so, but that's what I said. Well, I've already seen that top part, so I can take Acres to pull tight. I said, you sure can.
Oh yeah, Acres to pull tight.
You know, and they said, well, where else can you go? So you can take pull tight all the way down to Round Spring. You can do that too.
That's a great afternoon float as well.
It sure is.
Yep.
So there's a lot of different areas of the Current River that Darrell, I'll be honest with you, I think local people haven't even seen.
Yep.
Because a lot of them do float that Cedar Grove down to Acres, and some will go Cedar Grove to pull tight, but there's a lot of people float that current all the way down where it matches up with the Jack's Fork, and that's a beautiful float.
Yeah, several years ago, we started about 9 in the morning, and we floated with a group, and was kind of trying to head the group, but we floated Cedar Grove all the way on down to pull tight, and that's a nice long day float. Of course, that day that we got caught with a nasty thunderstorm hit us, and lightning blasting back and forth a few miles upstream from.
That makes it memorable too, doesn't
it? There was some vigorous paddling going on. Let me put it that way.
We can laugh about it now.
We were fairly well
laughing at the moment.
Yeah, we were fairly well whipping the water to a froth there, trying to get on down to.
I can imagine.
Yep. We were vaulting right on over some of those rapids and things at a pretty good pace.
Well, we're glad to have you back, and glad that you had a little time off, and
so anyway,
and they get back to business. Well, the commission did not meet on Monday, this past Monday, so we didn't really miss anything there.
We were going to be out of town. Commissioner Larson was out of town, so there was no commission meeting on Monday.
So,
but at any rate,
there were a few things that did happen last week, and a couple things yesterday. So let's go ahead and touch on a few.
Yeah, and the road and bridge crew, they've been, they're always working, always repairing chip and seal roads. They've been doing a lot of grading, replacing culverts, and so on. And there's been some instances they've had to go check on some roads and do a little repair work from some heavy rains, locally heavy rains. And I understand right here in town last Monday, about the time we left, and Springfield just fairly well flooded. We drove through some really heavy rain in the Springfield areas. We were going down to Branson and Hollister last Monday afternoon. But at any rate, I understand you got some heavy rains here and kind of the more northern parts of the county.
Especially through town. We got more of the rain in through town than north or south, which is unusual. And out west, I said, I can't come across. But over 2 inches in town. I think Wes Mowbray said he got less than 3/4 of an inch.
And we probably got maybe a half inch out of my house.
Yeah, and Gary said that he didn't have that much. He doesn't really know. He said he got a little bit more than that, probably over an inch.
Well, you needed the streets washed off and the parking lots washed off here in town. That's always helpful.
The lightning that we did not need because it hit our satellite receiver and killed it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. We just got that back on last night. So
would mention, though, I know I've talked to the commissioners. Wes Mowbray mentioned that he is put out. He's got a Title II. What amounts to some of our forest money falls under what they call Title II. So he's got a project down in his district, southeast part of the district, to work on a road and about 20 culverts or so that they'd be replacing down there. So he did put out for bid to get for 20 culverts to fulfill the requirements of that Title II project.
And that's on the Turtle Loop Road.
Yep, down in there. We've also They also put out for bid for gasoline, as we, of course, we go through quite a bit, I think, for a 1,000-gallon of gas. And Phil Mart here in town did get the bid on that again. So I do appreciate Phil Mart's bid on that at $3.10 a gallon.
Yes, sir.
And people hear that and they say, well, how come I can't buy gas for $3.10? Well, there's none of the state taxes and things that get added to that for road use. This is all road, falls under off-road bids. Anyway, so they're working on that. And then I know Commissioner Mowbray as well has been working on another flap project. You know, we have a flap project, 2 of them, here in the county right now going on. One of them was to asphalt the county road leading down the hill to the Tanvat Scenic Rivers Ways access. And we opened that for bids. We didn't get any bids at all from anybody wanting to even bid that. You know, the companies are all busy. It's really a challenge just trying to get bids. And then we also had the bids, you know, for the bridge. Those bids came in much higher than what engineers had anticipated. So both those projects are kind of on hold for now. The engineer did recommend that we just go ahead and hold off and rebid that this winter, probably in February, when contractors are lining up work, and maybe have a better time to get some good competitive bids on doing the bridge project, on the one flap project, and then on the asphalt project as well. Commissioner Mowbray, though, had been working on an additional flap project, though, to go ahead and extend pavement from Tanvat on around the county road on into the back of Montauk State Park. So, and did get approved for that. And so that is a project that we'll be looking at for next year or the following year to get that road asphalted as well, all the way on through. So
that road's been known to wash out a little bit now and then, and then of course in the wintertime with ice storms, that can be a very dangerous road.
It is. It can be, and it is a very difficult road to keep in decent shape.
Yeah, I do want to remind everybody about the propane bid that the county did. You haven't mentioned that one yet. I thought I'd throw that out there before you forget.
Yep, and they also, as you say, then we did put out for bid for propane. They opened those bids, understand, yesterday, and that bid was awarded to Ferrell Gas at $1.99 a gallon. So we got a good bid on that, though, and that is for propane for basically October 1 through May, I think it is, on a keep the tank filled basis.
Keep the tank filled. You never know it's going to get cold or hot.
Well,
there you go.
So anyway, and they put a monitor, actually, it's pretty neat. They put a monitor on it that automatically sends them, they can pull up right now what the tank level is and monitor it and get over and fill it if need be. So
very good.
Got those things done.
Got some cart funds to report on too, sir, don't we?
Somewhat.
Cart funds?
You know, I don't have that information with me. We'll worry about that here the next,
that's
next
fine.
deal. I do want to mention, though, we also did put out for bid again to rebid work on the courthouse. We had done that, put that out before. Got some bids that were just almost ridiculous from some firms pretty far outside the county. We did put it back out for bid, and we did get one bid back, but it was from I say local firm. It's a firm out of Rolla, Alexander Contracting, and they actually had one of our local firms here in Dent County that would be a major subcontractor on that project, doing for carpentry work. But at any rate, that bid come back. The previous bids were like 3.8 or 9 million to 5.4 or 5.5 million, I forget, that we had, and they were just plumb out of sight. This is all basically for mostly all exterior work of going all the way around the courthouse and really getting an update of everything. And we knew it was going to be a considerable amount. This bid that we did get came back in at $1.647 million. Well, $1,647,679. And the architect engineer Corky Stack is reviewing those bids, looking them over for completeness and accuracy and so on, and he'll be coming back to us. And in the meantime, then we are still working with Department of Revenue to find out for sure what their payback plan is for the county on repayment of the $935,000 due to their error on sales tax.
I thought we were supposed to have all this, rectified by this past summer. I thought that you had met with them and they kind of said, we should have this all done by summer.
They've been working on it, so we'll see.
Doesn't sound like they're working.
Well,
I know.
It's all we've been working with the attorneys, and the attorneys working with their attorneys, and so.
But at the same time, Darrell, it doesn't answer any questions the county commission has. And here you are you're in the last 3 months of your year again. Here you go. Still, you have no clue what to do with sales tax.
Yeah. Well, I can say this. I visited with the attorney, and we're pretty close to having that answer. And we'll see how this comes out.
That's good.
But we want to know, we want to know concrete what that is, so
Sure.
that we know where we're at on being able to do other work that we have to do, what our revenue stream is or not going to be, and so on. So working on that, and we'll in talking with the attorney, they're in contact and in discussion, and I feel good. I think probably by the next time I'm on the air here, we'll probably have a better. I'll have some more information I think we can provide on that.
May not have
what we can do.
Definitive answer, but it might be getting closer, right?
We'll be closer. We'll be closer.
Right,
We'll see
good,
what we can do.
very
So
good.
anyway, but that has been the most frustrating thing for the last year and a half.
It'd have to be.
It's just hair pulling, but we're closer. And for the folks who don't know, the Department of Revenue made a mistake many years ago on coding for a large firm outside the county, and mistakenly given them our code number for sales tax to be paid into. And so for many years, every month, sales tax was being paid in, credited to Dent County, and we were getting that, which is fine. But now they discovered it back in May of 2020. 2 years ago, they discovered they'd made this terrible error, and didn't bother to tell us, and then waited until February of last year, 21, to drop the bomb. But they were at that time withholding $1,005,000. Didn't tell us that the calculators were still running, and so then they've added an additional. They withheld $1,005,000 last year in 21, but now. And according to their calculations, there's an additional $935,000 and some change that they, as part of their mistake. And so, even though it's their mistake, it's our problem. So, anyway, we continue to work on that, and what we're shooting for is to try to get a more friendly payback period, since it's their mistake altogether. We feel they should be willing to work with us some more on that, and have been in contact with Senator Brown and Representative Copeland, and they're doing what they can to help us on that as well. And they're on our side, but you have statutes involved and so on how those things work. And in the end, I guess, though, it all comes down to what the director of the Department of Revenue wants to do.
I was going to say, I think it's all going to come to one decision by one person.
So we'll see how that comes out. But at any rate, we did get a very good bid back on, and we're going to start getting some work done now. We know just how much we can stand to bite off. Kind of depends on where we're at on DOR. But
you don't have to do all that at one time.
We don't have to, but see, the problem is, as we talked about with the stack, what the contractor would like to do is, if we're going to do this, as part of the bid, was for, again, a subcontractor to come in and actually put scaffolding around the entire courthouse that will allow them to go around. And to do it, to piecemeal it, makes it much more difficult. It will raise the overall cost quite a bit, because they need to be able to go in and join the scaffolding all together, get it all up all the way around it, so that the crews can be going completely around doing all this work and doing it from top coming down. So we'll see. We're going to get going.
Well, yeah, and that really wasn't my intent. And my comment was that because of the sometimes availability of products.
Oh yeah.
It can put a delay on any project you start. You can say, I'm going to start in June, and all of a sudden you have no lumber, or you have no windows, or you have something, and you're basically, your scaffold's sitting there, and you really can't do much.
Yeah.
You're waiting.
For the most part on this, this project is really, other than actually what they plan to do is just install new dormers that are made to spec. Otherwise, though, it's just a very labor-intensive project on the thing. There'll be a lot of brickwork we're going to do as far as back on the east end. There's a lot of that brick is galding and needs to be replaced, and some repair work there, and some repair up on top there on some of the old chimneys and things that are still there from the days of the old wood stoves.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So anyway, but we'll get there. But again,
good.
It's just a frustrating deal. It's a work in progress. So anyway,
Very good.
I was thinking we covered. I guess we didn't, because we would have had.
They had tax rate hearing.
Yep. Yep. I guess did Danita come in yesterday, the treasurer? I wasn't there at yesterday's meeting with
she did not.
CART funds. That would have been the previous.
No, we did. No, CART funds were the previous meeting.
Yep.
And
you know what? I just didn't get that down. We'll take care of that. I know they were up considerably. We're up about, as I recall, about 30,000 or so on the CART funds. Yeah. Yeah, that would have been back on August 22nd.
Yep, Monday.
Yep, that would have been just the following Monday after we were on the program last time.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, yeah, for Road and Bridge, and that is our CART funds, and that is, again, tax on motor fuels and things.
Right.
Comes. So the treasurer was in, and for the month of August, the CART funds came in at $67,226, and so that was a considerable increase. I believe that was about a $3,000 or $4,000 increase over the same month last year.
I think you're
year
right.
To
yeah.
date, but year to date, we're up about 6% from last year, and I think that figured out about 35,000 over.
I believe you're right.
Over last year.
Yes, sir.
So that's certainly good news on the revenue side. And sales tax, of course, this year, of course, sales tax compared to last year's no comparison because of the Department of Revenue mess up. But sales tax is coming in pretty robust compared to the years past.
And we need to make a comment about CART taxes. You know, CART taxes come in, and
that's all road and bridge revenue.
Right, it's all road and bridge revenue. But people say, "Well, I got to pay $4 a gallon for gas. Look how much tax I'm paying." You pay the same amount of tax, basically, based upon the tax rate on that gallon of gas. You don't make any more if it's $4 a gallon or $3 a gallon. It's a flat amount.
Right. It doesn't matter if the gas is $2 a gallon or $5 a gallon.
Yeah.
The price per gallon, as far as on the CART tax and things, which is what MoDOT depends on as well for their main source of funding for state highways, roads, and bridges and stuff. Is the fuels tax.
Absolutely. So I want to thank people for driving, but also, keeping that money local. And a lot of times when gas gets that high, people will stay in town.
That's right. We see it. We can tell it.
Absolutely.
We could see it big time with the when COVID was in full swing and everything going on and stuff. So anyway, while we're talking about tax, we'll just talk about the tax rates we did.
There you go.
On August 25th, we did have the tax rate hearing, and there are four funds that the county commission sets the tax rates for: general revenue, road and bridge, the senior citizen, and these are property tax rates, senior citizen fund, and the SB 40, Senate Bill 40 fund. And the Senate Bill 40 fund funds the sheltered workshop as well as the enrichment
Services
program.
in Denton County, yes, sir.
So at any rate, there is a board that serves the senior citizen fund, a senior citizen board,
yes, sir.
And then there's a separate board for the SB 40 board. They met, they made their recommendations. So at any rate, in the general revenue fund, our assessment for the county is up a good bit overall from what it was the previous year, and that's due to a lot of different things. I think it was up, if I remember right, the previous assessment was $179 million. The assessment this year and then had actually increased to $194 million. Mm-hmm. So, what are you looking at there? Not quite 20, about 15,
17,
16 million. About $16 million increase just in assessment.
Wow.
And interestingly enough, a lot of that is due not just on reassessment as far as on the value of home, but actually a lot of that is due to new home and building construction within the county, which is good news. So anyway, we did set those rates for the general revenue. Our previous tax rate had been 13 cents per $100 assessed valuation, 0.13, and we actually went ahead and reduced that and eliminated that property tax rate for general revenue, set it as zero, reduced it. And part of that, though, is because we actually have a mandatory reduction we'd have to take due to sales tax, and it's kind of a funky deal. As you see, because of the deal with Department of Revenue and what happened last year, then sales tax for last year was way down because of that mistake.
Right.
Well, now the sales tax this year for the first 6 months is much higher than the first 6 months or for the year last year. So it's a formula that comes into play. But the bottom line is because of that mess up by Department of Revenue, then we find ourselves needing to reduce the property tax rate more, and then we'll be in the same position again, most likely last year, depending on what happens on this holdback they do of this other $900,000. How and when that comes into play, that will affect for next year. So
Sure
it's
will.
a messed up deal. But at any rate, the general revenue property tax rate will go from 13 cents per $100 to zero.
No tax.
At that. Road and bridge, previously, and it has been this rate for many years, was 0.2550 25.5 cents per $100 assessed valuation. Yes, and the commission did vote to go ahead and leave that.
They did.
Leave that the same.
They did.
The Senior Citizen Board recommended leaving their rate at .0480, which is what it was this year. And so we did approve that request to set that at .0480. The Senate Bill 40 Board had recommended leaving theirs at .1341 per $100, 13.41 cents per $100 assessed valuation, and we did approve that as well. So no change in any of those, no change in any of them actually in what their rates were other than the general revenue, which we took to zero.
Right.
So anyway, so we got that done.
Very good.
So,
and all the paperwork necessary has been submitted.
Right. Yep. Filled out, turned in to the state, and on we go. So, I do want to mention one thing here. Brad Nash, Fire Chief Brad Nash, Denton County Fire Protection District Fire Chief Brad Nash. He had served for several years as our county EMD, and it is a paid position, albeit a small amount, but there's a lot of responsibilities come with that. And earlier this year, of course, you know, Brad has served as fire chief for several years. He's also served as our EMD for several years, but he'd been serving as mayor of the city of Salem for a few years. And back earlier here in the winter, he felt the need to back off a little bit and reevaluate and assess where he was at and what was going on. So he asked to be relieved from those full responsibilities as paid. Why it was his responsibility to go to some other meetings and so forth. He was willing to serve as in a voluntary position as EMD for a while, but he wanted to back away just a little bit and reevaluate and reassess his position there. So we done that, and actually, I mean, nothing really changed much. I still got phone calls from him in the middle of the night about storms that were coming and what he was learning from Weather Service and so on. But at any rate, of course, he's no longer mayor and moved on from that. And we talked here about a month ago and a few weeks ago, and he was willing to go ahead and take back the helm as full-time. I say full-time. It's part-time. It's paid part-time. The paid position, it pays $3,300 per year is what it does pay.
Not going to get rich on that job.
No. And so at any rate, he was willing to take that back on. You know, our emergency operations center, if we have a need operating, we've worked with the fire department down here to get an emergency operations center in place that can, you know, if something does happen, why we've got a place where everybody can assemble communication equipment and things there and that we can operate out of. And it works real well there. And so it really works very well if the fire chief there is willing to take that job on and work with us. And Brad does a great job of that. So the commission did vote here a week or two ago to reappoint Brad Nash as the county paid, I say, quote, full-time, and it's quasi-full-time. It's part-time EMD at the current rate of pay, again, of $3,300 a year. So we got that taken care of.
Very good.
So now he's got a few more meetings again that he's going to
Yeah. Just a few more meetings. Nothing like meetings.
That's what everybody needs, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, while we're on the topic of that, now we did talk a little bit at the last meeting that we did get new extrication equipment,
right,
for all that the county bought and through Emergency Management Department, and the county emergency management. The county paid for that equipment through using ARPA funds. We did have, and I appreciate Prosecuting Attorney Andrew Curley drawing up a memorandum of agreement for all the departments to sign that they would be responsible for this equipment and keeping insurance on it and keep it maintained. And but at no cost to them, they got this equipment to use. They did have training on it. We talked about that. I think it was on August 18th. They came in and they all received real thorough training on that evening on how to use the equipment. This is big, stout, heavy-duty extrication.
It's totally different than what they had before.
Right. We call it, for short, we call it Jaws of Life,
right,
but it's really three separate pieces of equipment that come into play when they're having to try it. And what this does is this will allow each of our fire departments, our 4 departments here that are based in the county, to have the equipment with them in their trucks on hand as they get called, because they get called directly out to accident scenes depending on where the accidents are at. And this will allow them to have that equipment on hand. And be honest, it will be life-saving equipment. equipment. There will be people's lives saved as a result of them being able to get them out of a vehicle. 'Cause you can imagine being caught, trapped in a vehicle, you're cut up.
You can't move.
Damn, hurt. And we got to get them to emergency medical services as quickly as possible. So we did get that done, but what I'm getting at is I wanted to mention that we didn't mention before. When they had that training, Whitaker Towing, James and Jimmy Whitaker, that have Whitaker Towing south of town here. They do a great job, and they volunteered to bring several vehicles into town here to the fire department and unload them and let the fire departments have those vehicles to train on how to cut up and tear up these vehicles to get into people if they be in them. And so we really, really need to give a shout out and a thank you to James and Jimmy Whitaker for all the time, because they spent a good bit of the day before hauling these vehicles in and unloading them in the parking lot, and then they spent a good bit of it, and I seen them go by right up the highway here, hauling those vehicles out and all the cut up parts, the roof and the doors and things that they cut off of them, and back down there. So that was a huge time and expense on their part, and a volunteer to just help our fire departments be better trained. So we really appreciate Whitaker Towing for the time and what they contributed in this effort.
Can't do on-the-job training without the equipment,
right.
Not only the equipment to do it, but also the sample vehicles to work on.
There you go. Really, really excellent training. So again, thank you to Whitaker and the Whitaker family for volunteering and helping do that. So appreciate that.
One of the things that you were attended, and I know I was there, and a number of people did, is a meal for a fundraiser for the construction trades program at Salem R80, and I know that's kind of near and dear to a lot of us, that we see such great work being done that Mr. Tinker has done with these students, and they have progressed on, and some of these kids are just pretty amazing. They've competed in national competitions already. We haven't had the program that long, but I tell you what, it's pretty impressive when you see the outcomes of these young men who can now actually step right out of high school and go to work for any contractor they want to through this construction trades program. And unfortunately, it was there was a building that was proposed to be built using funds. There's YLP tax credits still available, by the way. For
50% tax credits,
but they need to get the money raised here because they're going to lose the opportunity to build that building, which not only is going to have the construction trades program, but also a computer technology classroom in there as well. So two of what I think are the most viable things in today's society, Darrell, at least in my opinion, is the building of new buildings, that not only you build a new building, but you build it for today's technology. You build it for toward today's goals, the new codes and things of that nature. You got to know them. And then, of course, if you have the computer technology right there, and I know Amber Pryor's done a tremendous job with that program, with the classroom they have up the high school, two outstanding programs that literally could have been eliminated by not getting this done. And I think that fundraiser, we've been updated on it. It's very close to being done, very close to raising the money to make it happen.
I got an update yesterday.
Yeah, and so we want to thank, and I know you did, and then Sherman Odom did come in and give us an update at that meeting Thursday before you left.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, the building trades program has really taken off, and these kids in that, vocational programs are important. We've had vocational agriculture for years, one of the best programs in the state, and then, but this is a program that even expands on that, goes into, building trades. Kids go in and they learn actual building trades, the technical parts of it, and then, as you say, the technology part of this thing, it comes into play that as well. And so this program had been proposed, and to build a new building to really make this program really take off and work. And there was a grant, a CDBG grant, I believe, of about $500,000 that was applied for and was gotten, dependent though upon about $480,000, I believe it was, of local match money being put with it. So, and then there was a program put in place where people that could contribute to that $480,000 could get a 50% tax credit. Could spread it out over a few years.
Missouri state tax.
So,
credit.
So a $10,000 donation would get a $5,000 tax credit. So at any rate, this has been going on for about a year, and it's kind of languished, and nothing happened, and they were in danger here. Actually, the money had to be in place it's got to just about be in the bank by the 15th of September.
Yeah.
So here we are. So, or they'd be in danger of losing that $500,000 CDBG
Right.
grant and other
And
funds
applying
as
for
well.
another grant to help
Right,
out.
other funds as well. So you're right, and Todd Kennard, Sherman Odom really kind of took the bull by the horns, and the program really started too, though, with the Hester family.
Yep. Sure did.
Wes Hester, his wife Lisa. Lisa went to school here at Salem. Former Lisa Durbin, and Wes and Lisa have contributed and really spurred this thing, kind of got the ball rolling on really expanding this program because they recognize the importance of building trades. And not first of all, not every kid is geared to go to college and get a college degree, but a lot of them that aren't, though, are geared to work with their hands and work, and do and build and do things. And this program allows, if they can go through this program, they can come out of it being a very attractive hire for people in construction,
Absolutely.
Contractors, and
Or start their own company.
there you go, just do it, and or and I've heard some say, well, by doing what they done, they were able to actually work while they were going to college and make good money, in construction, enhance their ability to make money and go to school and come out of school without a bunch of debt because they were able to work and pay for it. It's just part of learning how to make a living in today's economy and stuff, rather than waiting for somebody to hand it to you. These kids work, and if you've been to the awards program, they have that night when they go through it. These kids have really done some tremendous work,
Really have.
and I think we had one of our kids, I think, won the state contest for building trades and went to the national and
Came in eighth.
placed very, very well, placed very high. Come away with that with job offers from different parts of the country to go to work immediately upon graduation. So it's a great program, and it was in danger of falling by the wayside, and because frankly just was not enough push on that, and we didn't realize until just recently that the deadline was fast approaching, and Sally Burbridge with the Salem Economic Development Director, now interim city administrator, she's worked on this as well, at trying to get this program done and off the ground and moving. And as you say, Todd Kennard and Sherman Odom and the Hesters did sponsor a dinner recently to make people aware and ask for help. And there was a lot of great commitments made of donations there at that meeting to get on. They really needed to raise. They had several commitments at that time of a couple of $100,000, I believe it was, but they still needed quite a bit more. And I just talked to Sally yesterday, and they think they're just right there at it. But if somebody would want to donate,
Still can.
Call the high school administration and talk to Lynn Reed or somebody there at the administration about making a donation that would qualify for the tax credits. I'm sure they can still arrange that, or talk to Sally Burbridge. She's pretty busy these days,
She got three more titles yesterday.
She's got a full plate. But at any rate, somebody can help you with that. But the good news is, due to the efforts of the Hesters, Sherman and Todd, this ball is rolling the right direction, and we feel pretty good that it's going to make it through. And I know of another entity that's falls under the county umbrella that was interested in helping fill in the gap if need be to make it, finally get it over the hump and get it done. And we certainly we're happy about that as well. But I think they're going to make it. But like I say, if somebody listening would want to donate and would qualify and would be glad to get the 50% state tax credit, state income tax credits, call Dr. Reed's office at the high school, and I'm sure they will try to accommodate you and see that can happen. So,
and that state tax credit can be carried forward for 5 years.
Sure,
So it's not like you have to use it today.
Exactly right.
So if you would like to make that donation, again, call 729-6642. And when you get the menu there, just go over to the central administrative offices. You want to talk to the superintendent's office, and you just hit the right button, and they'll send it right there. Sheila Adamek will be probably answering the phone, and she can guide you to the right person.
Get to the right person, or have the right person get a hold of you.
That's exactly right.
And make this happen. Yep. Or
call Sally.
Or talk to Sally, or talk to Todd Kennard. You got Kennard Realty up here in town, or Sherman Odom. They've worked on this extensively, so it's a good program, and I'm glad to see it's going to work.
Such a dynamic program for these young people. Just you hate to see something like that possibly slip away.
Yep. Yep. So anyway, yep, it's a good deal. I'm glad to see it's going to work. So anyway,
that's expensive meal though.
Well, again, Canucks and Sherman,
well worth it.
Todd Canuck and Sherman Odom and the Hesters put on this meal to invite people to come and have a good meal and sit and listen to, and the teachers at the school, the superintendent at the R80, they all spoke about the program, what they do, the success.
Right. Amber Pryor was there talking about technology side. Yep.
Yep. And it was just, and what the high school principal and excited. They're all excited about the program and
yeah, they happen to be held the same night as open house.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. Timing. Sometimes you just got to pick a date and go. So
there's no perfect night for everybody.
Yeah, so anyway, that's about all the notes that I had. We got, like I say, I sat down right quick this morning and put together a few notes.
The only other thing, Darrell, that you hadn't mentioned is that Grant Wilson came in from Jason Smith's office.
Yes, yep, and they are working on a drought disaster declaration for the area. Dent County was not included in the original information. That supposedly we didn't get dry enough, bad enough, quick enough. I'm not really sure how that could have been. But,
in their opinion.
In their opinion. But at any rate, if anybody had
data
and so on, they wanted you to send that information to Grant Wilson's number. Do you have that with you in that deal? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Send that to Jason Smith's office. That's where Grant Wilson, who's Jason Smith's main point person over at Rolla. And if you have pictures, data, so forth, you can send that over to Grant Wilson at 417-321-0203 or call Jason Smith's office at 573-364-2455. But again, that cell number to send pictures of drought, how bad it was and so on. And it was pretty devastating there for a while. You can send those again to Grant Wilson and his cell number. Just send those pictures and things to 417-321-0203, 417-321-0203, or call Jason Smith's Rolla office at 364-2455. And they will be working on trying to go ahead and get Dent County included in that drought disaster declaration.
It'd be nice to get added to that.
Yep,
I'm sure. I know a lot of farmers really struggled.
Yeah, it was rough. Some people were having to start feeding hay already, and hay's gotten to be a pretty precious, high-priced commodity. So, yep. So, anyway,
that's about all I have.
That's all I got. And I would remind folks the Chamber of Commerce Rodeo going on
Saturday, Sunday.
Saturday and Sunday.
7:30.
You can still purchase tickets at the Chamber of Commerce office here in town.
All the banks.
All the banks.
Town and Country Bank, both of them. Bank of Salem, both of them. Progressive Ozark Bank and Riverways Federal Credit Union.
Very
those
good.
banks.
Yep.
And you get a discount if you buy your tickets in advance. $8 for adults, $4 for kids. You pay at the gate. It'll be $10 and $5.
There you go. Save a little money and go out and see the rodeo. I got our advance tickets last week, and look forward. I don't know if we're going to make it Saturday or Sunday night yet, but anyway, look forward. It sounds like we're going to have a little bit of a rainy day today and tonight, but should be straightened out.
Well, it'll be good both Saturday night and Sunday night.
Yep.
If we do get any rain, it'll be a pop-up during the afternoon. So.
Yep. So
should be
bring the family, see the rodeo. It's a great rodeo. They put on a really good show. Great clowns and entertainment. The kids love it. So
and tonight we have a parade.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Opening night parade for the football game.
The football. I started to say fourth. Good grief. Football parade. Yeah, for the home football game tonight. Weather should be, hopefully
okay.
Accommodating for the football game tonight. And football team, and they'll be. I'm sure they've been working on what they identified maybe as some weak spots and things, and they'll be working on that. It's a young team. And,
very young team.
Yeah.
Very young
and,
team.
So that's
39 underclassmen.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Wow. So
they have 6 seniors. 2 of those did not play in the game, and one is out for the season. And the other one had a concussion, could not play.
Yep.
And the other 4 seniors had very limited varsity action. So you really had really a very inexperienced team out there.
Well, they're going to be getting more experience as they go along.
Yeah, so they will.
They've been putting in a lot of hard work, and so it ought to be a good time tonight at the football game. So you got a football game tonight, rodeo tomorrow night, Sunday night, then Labor Day on Monday.
Absolutely.
So, yep.
Absolutely.
Ought to be a great weekend in the Ozarks. Be a good time to go to the river and go floating Monday, too.
I've heard a lot of people. Matter of fact, I think West Mowbray said they may be going Saturday morning to go down and do a little floating. If you are, be careful down there. Again, watch the waterways, and especially if we start to get some of this rain.
Yeah.
Especially tonight, the water come Saturday morning might be a little quick.
Right. It can rise in a hurry.
Yeah. So
it happens.
Kind of be ready for that. As I'm looking right now, some of the issues, it looks like we could actually see a pretty good little shower this afternoon before the football game. So be prepared for that, too, if you're out and about. Down in southwest Missouri, if you are traveling that direction, by the way, they are calling for the possibility of 2 to 4 inches south of Highway 60. So if you're going that direction today,
I believe just after we went through Springfield on Monday, I believe they got about 4 inches down there Monday afternoon later.
So there could be some flooding down that way, at least flash flooding.
Yeah.
Watch those low water crossings, guys.
Yeah.
And even that includes our area, too. So.
Yep. Turn around. Don't go crossing something like that.
Very good.
It'd be dangerous. So anyway.
We want to thank Darrell for coming in and spending some time with us, starting a new month, my friend. It's hard to believe we're into September.
There will be no commission meeting on Monday. The courthouse will be closed for Labor Day, and so the next commission meeting will be this coming Thursday, the 8th.
Very good, and we do appreciate Darrell coming in. Darrell pays for this program out of his pocket. It is not a free program.
You got my checkbook right here, Stan.
Yeah, not paid for by county funds or tax dollars. It is paid for by Darrell directly, and of course we thank him. We've had the opportunity to do this program for many years, and we hope many people have learned a lot about what goes on in their county. Darrell does go into quite a bit of detail, so if you don't catch it on the radio, on our reports, or from the newspaper, you can hear it right here. And if you miss part of the interview, you can always go back and listen. We got it on our YouTube page. Give us a little time. We have to digest it through our Twitch, which we do stream live, but the YouTube page is put up within usually a day at the latest, and you're able to go back and review those different interviews and find out what's going on in your county.
Go back, pick it up. I think I mentioned this before. One time I had a fella tell me, a week or so after we'd done the radio program, that I ran into him out at the fuel pumps, and he said his cousin had contacted him, and he was over in one of the Scandinavian countries of either Norway, Sweden, or Denmark. I forget which one over in there, but at any rate, his cousin had called him, and he'd been listening to our radio program live the previous Friday, and was commenting and really enthused about some things we were talking about having to do with United Nations and some things.
I do have one more little thing to report on. Well, I don't have a report on, but in case anybody is still concerned about the byway, had a lot of comments on that. There was a meeting this past Tuesday, and then there was a meeting last night. There is still one coming up in West Plains, I believe it's September 13th.
Yes, I plan to go to that one.
Yeah, and then it will be at the West Plains Civic Center Theater, not into the big, open basketball area. It'll be in the theater, the seating part. So as you walk in, it's right to your left. So if you don't know where that is, because it's not marked real well when you go in there, but it is right to your left, and they will be holding that public hearing. And some interesting conversations I've heard coming out of a few of these hearings, Darrell.
Yeah, I visited just a little bit with Representative Copeland and some other folks, and the scenic byway thing, and it's all great. It sounds great, and it's real nice, except for one deal. And Stan, I did see the Your World Today, your coverage of it in there, and I wanted to compliment you. I thought you'd done a great job of pointing this out, that it does come with some caveat that if you find yourself suddenly owning property, that the property you own, and that suddenly the highway that runs by your property is designated an approved designation as a scenic byway, your property then has restrictions, what you can do with it. And you need to that needs to be taken into consideration. And personally, I'm very much opposed to, you don't get any reduction on your taxes. You will still pay the full tax rate, but you are restricted on what you can do with that property. Right. As far as anything on that property, you're restricted. You cannot put signage up of any kind that is not approved. You can't. And they'll try to say, well, this is just about billboards. No, it's not just about billboards. Any kind of signage, but it's also about anything else that you might want to build, or anything that's within what's declared as the view shed can be viewed from that highway.
Even things that can't be viewed,
changes.
And I found that actually in the wording, and I was thinking, that's crazy. What do you mean? If it's intrinsic to the scenic byway, And even if you can't see it from the road,
yeah.
I thought,
so it's
what?
There's more to this, as Paul Harvey, the old radio guy, would have said. The rest of the story.
The rest of the story. But also, Darrell, that the scenic byway is not set in stone, and they can have what, according to the developers, at least in their application, that they can include sprints. Off this.
Oh, well, on this one, there it is.
Yeah,
it takes a little sideshow.
That's right. It can kick in, and they could actually have that go up Highway 19 to something in Denton County, maybe toward Devil's Well or something of that nature. Hey, and all of a sudden, you're part of the scenic byway. You had nothing to do with it.
You had nothing to do with it. So it's actually up to each county commission to approve or disapprove inclusion in the scenic byway. And I can tell you, Shannon County Commission, I've talked to those commissioners down there, and they're very much adamantly opposed. Oregon County Commission was quite surprised to find that they were listed on the application as being a supporter, and they didn't even know the thing was going on, and they absolutely are not supporters of this thing. I've talked to Howell County Commission, and they absolutely are not, because it travels all the way across Howell County as well.
That's right.
They're not very happy about this thing because of these property, not because of what it wants to do as far as promoting tourism and having maps showing what a real beautiful scenic route is to go. And this scenic byway would start in St. Louis up around Tesson Ferry Road, travel all the way down Highway 21, and take off come down through Washington County. And again, one of these side tracks is it takes off at Potosi, I believe it is, and goes up, I believe, 185 to go up into Franklin County. Yep. Franklin County Commission signed off as being supportive, but I've since talked to Franklin County Presiding Commissioner, and he was pretty upset to find out that there were property rights restrictions came into play that they weren't made aware of when they were asked about this. And this is a group from St. Louis, an environmental group.
And they've got a lot of deep pockets, from my understanding. Absolutely. They're out of Baldwin, Missouri.
Yep. So they're proposing this thing. None of them own property along this route, most likely, that would be affected. That's the way that always works. The people who want to do these things are never the ones negatively affected. But it goes down Highway 21 to Highway 106, cuts across Reynolds County, then over across into Shannon County, and then on down 19 all the way down to Alden, cuts over then on 160, then
all the way to Branson,
all the way across Oregon County, all the way across lower Howell County, through Ozark County, and terminates just north of Branson over on Highway 65. And if they want to promote tourism, and do that, okay. But leave the private landowners alone, and don't be restricting their rights. It can be something as simple as a landowner down there somewhere. Say there's a resort owner who has a resort, and he has a friend, Joe or Stan. You own a piece of property up there on the highway, and he said, "Man, this would be a great place,
500 feet away.
Where if I could put a sign up, say, hey, stay at Joe's Riverside Resort. Stan, I'll give you $2,000 a year, or $2,400 a year if I could put this sign up. Advertise. Okay, good. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, Stan. You're on a scenic byway. No, you can't put a sign up for this guy now. Nope, you can't do that. No, that's just wrong. It's just wrong. And then, or you want to build something or whatever, and you own this property on a scenic byway. Well, all of a sudden, some government entity has authority to tell you, no, you can't. No, because you're on a scenic byway. Congratulations.
But the big danger, Darrell, that I think that I saw in this application is this is just the first part of a 3-state, Ouachita and Ozark byway, and they would want to make it 1,155 miles so they can turn it into a national scenic byway. And now, if you don't think the property rights for this little one are going to be big,
I can see that scenic byway then would end up going right on down 65, right on down through. As I was talking about earlier, what a beautiful drive that is. Well, it's a beautiful drive. I don't need some radical environmental group in St. Louis to tell me that
it's a beautiful drive.
A beautiful drive. But I don't believe the private landowners along that route ought to have their property rights taken away from them, and as a result of this group's deal. So it always ends up being about control, and we've got enough government control.
Again, that meeting will be September 13th at the West Plains Civic Center. If you have an opinion on it, again, Denton County is not in this at this time.
Nope.
But I'm not going to tell you it never would be proposed to be put into Denton County, because we have a lot of very, very scenic areas.
Sure, absolutely.
That would definitely be, I would think, like Dillard Mill and things. I'm sure somewhere down the road they would love to put all that
right
in
over
there.
in Crawford. I can see the thing taking a side shoot off of, if they're on 21, I can see that thing making a side deal, then come up 32 right up to Viburnum, cut right down 49 over to Dillard, and just on it goes. There's no end to the. There's never any end to the control the government wants to put on people and the private people, and that's.
I think that begins at 5 o'clock, I believe.
At West Plains.
On West Plains, yeah. It's at least an evening.
I'll tell you here.
The one in Eminence was 2 to 4 in the afternoon. I thought was kind of unusual.
Yeah, the one last. I think there was one.
There was one last night.
Yeah, there was one last night down in Oregon County.
And
I bet that was an interesting animated. I heard it was a pretty animated meeting they had down at Eminence earlier this week.
Yeah, I heard that one too. That's where I got my
the one at Oregon County was last night 5 to 7. The one down in Howell County will be 6 to 8 p.m. down at the Civic Center.
Yeah, so at least it's an evening meeting. So,
but I'm going to that one unless something gets it terribly in the way. So anyway,
okay. I wanted to bring that up before we got finished.
But I got to tell you, literally, the Oregon County commissioners, the Shannon. I called them when I first found out about this about a month ago, and I called Shannon County commissioners, Oregon County commissioners, Howell County, and Ozark County. Those I'll talk to those commissioners down there, and none of them even knew this thing was in play. It was even going on. It was happening. And this thing had already been sent to MoDOT. And MoDOT actually organized a meeting over in Ozark County and had the meeting set up, and the Ozark County Commission didn't even know anything was happening. Yeah. So they're pretty ill. Oregon County Commissioner, Presiding Commissioner David Stubblefield, great guy. He was shocked to find out and it's in writing in the application that they're a supporter of the project. Yeah. This is, so right off the bat, when they're putting stuff that is just outright bald-faced lies, well, then that right there is reason enough that it needs to go in the trash and set
so
there.
If anybody would like to take a look at that application, by the way, it is on the MoDOT website.
Absolutely.
And you can go in there and just type in Ozark Scenic Byway.
Ozark Run.
Yeah, you can just put in Byway, and actually it just shows right up.
You'll find it.
And you can read the whole 102-page application for this sucker. And it has some beautiful pictures.
But about page 69 or 70 is where you'll get to the little blurb about restrictions on.
But before that, you get all the beautiful sites and the things they're going to do, and in every county, and how it's going to prosper.
You'll feel so warm and fuzzy you won't be able to stand yourself. Yeah.
And then when you get tired of reading and you get down to the last part, by the way, we're going to take your property, you're going to do this. They're not taking anybody's property, but they do restrict it. So you definitely want to make sure you read that, and you're going to get a whole maybe not so warm and fuzzy feeling.
Exactly.
For that. No. But again, I just wanted to bring that up before we finish, Darrell, because I was afraid we wouldn't get that in by the next meeting that they had down there. We would miss an opportunity to talk about that. By the way, you will be able to talk about that at our next get-together in September, which will be on the
16th. We'll talk about that meeting at Howell County.
Very good.
I got a feeling there's a great big stretch of it that is not going to happen.
Well, if a big stretch doesn't happen, I don't think the whole thing can happen, right?
Yep.
Kind of makes it kind of rough. A little piecemeal of it. Anyway, again, we thank Darrell for coming in and spending time with us today. We hope you have a great day. And Darrell, again, we appreciate all the efforts you do and all the meetings you attend.
Also want to mention thank you to all of them. No, yes, we're going to. I'm going to write the check so I get to say what I want within reason, right? Within reason. Every once in a while, Stan will have a scared look on his face.
There are times.
Yeah, but at any rate, I do want to give a shout-out, though, for all the folks that support the rodeo. It's a big, long list of sponsors at different levels. That's right. The thing doesn't happen. We really appreciate the work the Chamber of Commerce does on this, and Tabitha Utley does a great job working on this. Melba right here at the radio station. This is a major work that she works on, a project. And we do support or do appreciate all the various supporters and things.
And a lot of volunteers to get the rodeo ready.
It takes a team of people, everybody working together to get this thing done. So do appreciate everybody's support in whatever way they can to make this happen.
And
it's a great event.
I'll throw a little thank you to Outlaw Rodeo Productions. They've been putting on this show for a long time, and they really have to bring all the livestock in and stuff. They really do a tremendous job.
Yep. So anyway, we'll be back here in 2 weeks about the night. 16th. We'll be back here. We'll be back here about the 16th, and I do appreciate the chance to do this, Stan. I very much appreciate it. I do hope everyone, folks may have learned a little bit more and stuff, and until we're back here then, I do hope everyone will be safe, happy, healthy, and God bless each and every one. And we leave you with this.